What is Rezz energy or Rezz particles? For the most part, we see it when we get eliminated in Fortnite, before they get sucked up by a drone and then, I guess, put back in a loop. And maybe Reload is expanding on this. We have a winner's umbrella, we have a pickaxe, and now it seems like we will be having weapons. But they're not called Rezz weapons. They will be called a morphight, which of course actually makes perfect sense. The Greek word morph meaning to shape and to form. But I hate to burst your bubble, apparently they're just called morphites because it means morphight. There's two things I don't like about this. One, the person who commented on the person talking about morphites saying, no, I saw the guy who made it on Twitter say it means just morphites. Didn't provide me with any context of this tweet, so I had to go hunting for it. The second thing is, once you name something in-game like this, you completely lose control of it. So it's funny that it's actually killing you inside, but you must understand you've lost control of it once it's in-game. This is now intellectual properties of Epic Games, so if the community likes this name more, they're going to run with it. I hate to burst your bubble back, but it is what it is. But anyway, who cares, because it led me and my Discord community down an absolute rabbit hole. I still think it's a little peculiar that you have the Dark Voyager in the game currently with this style. And the conclusion I come to when I look at it, it looks like Rezz particles. Yes, it's also called the Burning Voyager. It indeed could be going for a sort of burning look, but when he wears his back bling cube, it is glitched. Of course, there's been some debate in the community. Is the Dark Voyager also the internal Voyager who threw himself into the 0 point and got scattered across the Armyverse? Strange enough, the cube, when it's glitched, is called the Shattered Cube. Since it turns out this morphight may mean very little going forward, what does mean something is how Genno came to his demise. Like the Eternal Voyager, Genno fell into the uncontrolled 0 point along with his daughter, which led Genno and the Imagine to start discorporating, as the Foundation says, which literally means to dissolve into a non-physical state, which is one of the reasons why everyone thought Genno was a shapeless man. But as we know, Genno started to pull himself together. So if the Dark Voyager is the Eternal Voyager, he also somehow put himself together, even though it looks like we can sort of see bits when he, in the comics at least anyway. And you know who else who technically started discorporating as well? The Chapter 3 loopers. At the end of Fracture, we all get slammed by the Herald and the entire island got vaporized by the Chrome. But something I noticed about the Chrome a while ago is when all the 7 got taken, there is this blue glow to it. Ha, blue glow. And I thought that's a bit weird because Chrome is biology as well as like nanite technology. It's kind of like a mix of both. And as we know, the scientist was at least alive during Chapter 4 Season 1, as we did get a message from him after he was chromed, and also Amy managed to lock onto his location. So could the Chrome have used Rezz particles to transport the 7 to the last reality, to sculpt their existence anew? And spotted by one of my Discord members, Aluka, everything does go blue when the Chrome sort of does what it needs to do. Now, I'm trying to vaguely remember the Chapter 3 Season 4 storyline. I knew Jones wanted to tether us to 0 point energy, and I guess that was because everyone was about to get chromed, or they wanted to try and rift everyone out. I don't really know what was going on there. But essentially at this point, what I'm trying to say is, are we just blobs? Is there anyone actually there anymore, or have they already just gone, and they're just sort of existing there because gravity's gone, so they will stay in their shapes a lot longer than what the 7 did. Oh my god, and that is the point, yeah. That's why they stayed in their shapes a lot longer, because the 7 would just in gravity, so they would naturally, the Chrome would, yeah. Oh my god, yeah, that is a great point. Why did I only just caught that? And you've got to remember, we've all been talking about this because of a tweet that doesn't really mean anything. Sorry, the context of the tweet doesn't mean anything. Luke then had a point about the Matrix, and that how to get out the Matrix, they use a chrome-like substance as well. And I remembered when they got out the Matrix, they used pods, didn't they? They sort of arised from pods, which is kind of similar to the 7 coming in pods that is encased in like a meteorite. Make of that what you will. Okay, the mirror scene might have been an oversimplification. It didn't directly get him out of the Matrix, but that was a symbolic thing about the Matrix actually breaking down. I'm not here to talk about the Matrix, okay? Obviously, Donald Mustard was a huge fan of the Matrix actually appearing in the Matrix. So there's loads of parallels here to actually really sort of buy into. I guess now, thinking about it, And something else to talk about the whole chrome thing is the origin. I sort of said, oh, Origin's kind of got the same thing, where he seems to also have Rezz energy pulsating from him. Before we get into the whole thing about the Origin being a prisoner, because obviously the King's Anthem said he was held hostage by the IO after he left the last reality, that's sort of where his shackled style comes from. So was reality 266 the reality, and was Canyon classified the place? So the Origin also has the same burning coming from him, like the Dark Voyager. Something to also think about is the Herald super style, or bonus style, the burning embers. I always used to think, obviously the Herald did survive, the tree went to chapter 4 map and there was a big hole in the back and we all presumed the Herald went out. But a second style, burning embers, I think is a play on the Phoenix. Now the Phoenix will rise from a bunch of their burning embers and be reborn. Just funny, these are 3 last reality members. On stream yesterday and probably a couple days ago, we were talking about the Origin and his prison style, which obviously has 07 and not D7. It's not even a 7 outfit, it's the outfit he supposedly worn when he was imprisoned by the Imagined Order. Obviously I might be misremembering here, but I feel like everyone because of that presumes the Origin was the last member of the 7, or at least until we had the Looper's calendar and he was there, but the 2 sisters weren't. So it seems like the Origin is emitting cube energy, and of course Rezz energy are in the shape of cubes. He also has a built-in emote which uses light rays to keep him shackled. Could this be where the Imagined Order had the Origin cornered and took him prisoner? Which of course would mean that this is a former Imagined Order base. They're doing research on the UFO, on a mini cube, and it has 07 on it. And of course this is based on Area 51, so every Area 51 interpretation on a movie, a TV show and a game would need to have an alien. But there is a bit of conflicting information, and that conflicting information is all the signposts around this base is insinuating that nothing is watching us. Although the Order does say this place is familiar, so maybe she remembers it when they picked up the Origin, but obviously that still contradicts the whole Looper calendar. Talking about the Imagined Order and keeping people prisoner, when the Foundation went to grab Jones, his gloves also acted in a way that turned IO gods into Rezz cubes. Now, in an event kind of recently, we had the Kill Bill final chapter thing, which was incredible, but obviously when they got shot, they showed them as Rezz cubes to obviously not have blood. But in the chapter 2 end event, there is a different kind of thing that happens when Foundation throws one into the 0 point, like with Genno and like with the Eternal Voyager, and they're different. Which is less cubes and more sort of particle dust. Of course there's different artist interpretations here, but the difference between everything we've talked about in the 0 point is obviously these machines were made to do that. The 0 point at the end of the day wasn't. And obviously calibrating the 0 point allows you to travel between different realities better, but you have to calibrate the 0 point. So what I'm trying to articulate is if you go through the 0 point when it's uncontrolled, it just takes an awful lot longer to re-bring you back together. So doesn't kill you? Of course, a massive question mark, and most of this conversation happened today because of something that wasn't what we thought it was, I suppose. But I would still argue there is an important thing about the Rezz cubes and how they function, and how all these devices that interact with us as loopers do their jobs essentially. Which I think the whole thing is pretty interesting narratively anyway. So guys, if you've got any questions or you want to tell me your theories, comment down below. If you want to support me even more, consider using creator code Mr. Joy in the Fortnite item shop, #ad, #partner. And comment down below, morphight. Until next time, thanks for watching. It has been your boy Mr. JLY. It's next time, bye bye.